All right, here for the last Premier League pod of the season. Daniel, how are you doing?
Yeah, here it is. I was on Arsenal actually for this afternoon.
Okay.
I felt like, I mean, you kind of knew this wasn't going anywhere good, and then Foden led us one in after 70 something seconds, and it just keeps coming back to this doesn't sting. I thought the treble would sting more than it did, but ultimately, if I've decided that this is all cheating, then I've decided that this is all cheating. So
yeah,
let's just get on with it.
Well, exactly. Yes, I 3-screened it. Well, actually 4-screened it. So United on the big telly and the other games on 2 laptops and Twitter on the phone. Bit sad, really. And it's all kind of pointless, wasn't it? As soon as City scored, you're like, all right, it's there, done and dusted. And even they invaded the pitch at the Etihad and the players celebrated. And then you're like, yeah, but why? What's the point?
I don't know. It's funny with City, actually, because obviously when you're measuring greatness of football teams, the first thing you do have to look at is what did you win?
Mm-hmm.
And they've won 4 titles in a row, and they've won the Champions League, which is more than the first Guardiola group team won. And there's some overlap, obviously, like Aguero was still there in 22, I think, 21, 22, whatever it was. But I would still rather play these than those. These, I think, give you more of a chance just because they don't keep the ball quite as well. They're not purely a possession team. They're now a power possession team, which means that they do turn the ball over more. And I guess the first thing you'd look at is, because also the first thing, as I said, you look at is what did you win? But the next thing you look at is who did you beat? And the team that first City team were beating, Klopp's Liverpool team, I think were significantly better than this Arsenal team.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, even then, I don't feel like I need to deeply analyze like which of City's like many cheating teams have cheated the best. So, and I'm like totally rationalizing it. And if this was a Twitter feed, it'd be full of blues going, "You're just bitter," and so on. And maybe that's true. I don't know, but yeah.
On that point,
as annoying as Arsenal fans are and their manager is, I definitely felt myself going, especially when West Ham almost scored a second, it just rolled off Suchek's arm. I was like, oh, this could be on. Got excited for a second, and then, no.
On that point of City fans in your mentions, this wasn't in my mentions. I had a City fan give me some aggravation for something I said about Newcastle the other day when Kieran Trippier was bitching about difficult working conditions. And of course, so I obviously said, well, strange that, because those lads whose money you were delighted to accept are famous for treating their workers with respect in normal circumstances. So I say there's some City fan in my mentions disses me. So I click on him just to see who he is. And I happen to see him having retweeted another City fan who says, a reminder of Daniel Harris's inverted commas impartiality. And he quotes a semi-final preview I wrote in 2011. For 13 years, This has been antagonizing this individual I didn't even know existed.
It's great. It's sweet.
First of all, I am impartial in my work. Obviously, I want one team to win and one team to lose, but anyone is welcome to trawl through all the stuff I've written. I've got loads of stuff wrong, but impartiality, I don't think so, because dislike United almost as much as I dislike City in some ways. But I feel like I always try and keep it honest. You will never find me anywhere saying this City team aren't good. They are good. They're really, really fucking good. I have to accept that. However that came about. But at that point, I wasn't a writer for The Guardian. They said, write a fan's eye piece. And I did. And I read through it and I thought, well done, Daniel. Not things I think very often, actually. But it proper made my day, that did.
Yeah, and it's pretty nice. Him thinking about you, last thing he thinks about at night before he goes to bed, and first thing he thinks about in the morning is you, Daniel Harris.
Doesn't everyone do that? I'm an only child.
Yeah. Yes, Daniel. We all think about you day and night. Yeah.
But that was real. That was a real daymaker. They're a good team, but I don't think they're uncatchable, because if one of the best one-on-one finishers I've ever seen finish as a 1-on-1 the other night, they lose the title.
Well, exactly. And Son's overperformance against XG, 1-on-1 or elsewhere, is massive, right? He is the archetypal performing well above the model type player. Incredible. I have to say, I fully enjoyed the whole Ange losing it, Spurs fans being just so petty. I enjoyed that whole thing all week. I mean, they really did take it to the extra level, Spurs fans doing the Poznan and all of that. And then, especially in the stands today, cheering when Everton scored and when City scored and all of that kind of stuff.
But to contextualise that just a little bit, Arsenal have won the league at White Hart Lane as many times as Tottenham have won the league. Imagine if they then hand Arsenal another title with some Tottenham home ground behaviour.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I don't support Tottenham and I feel almost sick even thinking about it, sort of imagining how that would go. So it felt like there wasn't a lot of context. It felt like not insignificantly sized Ang also didn't really get the context and ended up having to row back.
Yeah,
because
I
felt like
he almost doubled down on his point. All he had to say, honestly, in order to clear all that out, was, "Hey, I understand the fans. I understand they don't want their rivals to win, but I've got a football team to manage, and I want to win as many games as possible." That's all he had to say, and it had been done.
Yeah, it didn't require moralising, 100%. And I think he's quite good like that. But it's funny how he's sort of deflated over the last few months. The whole buzz of him, like millions of goals conceded from set pieces, quite hard to fathom sometimes what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think the row back when it came in the press conference on Friday was as much as anything because he wants to keep his job. And if you pissed off the fans like that and told them told people who pay a lot of money what they should and shouldn't think and what they should and shouldn't do, you better win.
Yeah.
And you better be good. And it felt like with that and then a bad start to next season. And suddenly
you'll be under pressure
talking about whether he's staying in the job or not. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I like him. I just think he got that one wrong and just didn't quite get on with fan sentiment, even if that fan sentiment was incredibly petty. And you can kind of understand it. It's
football. Football is fucking petty.
It is.
It's like the height of football.
And I love it.
We love it.
I love it. The funny thing is, you wouldn't get that Old Trafford. It's a different kind of crowd, and I don't think
because we have won.
We have won things, yeah.
Because we've won a lot. We've won a lot of gear, and so not winning that stuff doesn't hurt in the same way. I was at Sunderland in 2012. I can't say I enjoyed it, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed not being at Anfield. I enjoyed Anfield where I wasn't in 1992, and I wasn't someone who suffered through all the lean years. I mean, I'd had some of them. I guess I started watching United in 1983. It's the first football I was 4. That's the first football I can remember. But we've won. We know what it is to win. So, and we also, when you're at the top and you're playing for high stakes, it then becomes inevitable that you will suffer pain.
Yeah.
And when you're just in mid-table, it's a different kind. It's more of an ache. Mm-hmm. It's not a sharp pain that you get when you get an Aguero against you. And often, because of the fact that the big teams come from the big cities, I mean, it wasn't like this for United for a long time, but it was like this in the 60s, at the end of the 60s. Your rivals might also be good.
Yeah.
And so the pain that you suffer will sometimes be at their hands. And that's the deal that you make, or not the deal because you haven't foisted upon you, but that is what happens when you support a team that is good. So it was petty, but the reason Old Trafford wouldn't be petty isn't just because we're superior beings, partly because of that. It's because we know what it is to win.
Yeah.
And so the losing doesn't hurt as much, I would say.
Well, following that track, United fans at Brighton, again, great. And you have to say that it's a mega trek to get to Brighton from Manchester. It's a mega trek to get to the Amex from the city centre in Brighton, let alone from Manchester. So props to everyone who went. Fantastic noise again, supporting the team, who were, for about 60 minutes of this game, absolutely dreadful. and getting passed off the pitch by mid-table Brighton side, already on the beach, etc., and so on, with De Zerbi out and all of that, and then suddenly a couple of chances, and we stole the game. Well, it was much better in the second half from United, but that first half, man, they didn't look like they could be bothered, or making the same mistakes over and over again, which is the same as we've seen all season. Just the amount of pressure, amount of chances, amount of saves that Onana had to make. A couple of really good ones in the first half, but for some wasteful finishing from Brighton that could have been over by half time.
On Brighton, is Valentine Barco the gingerest footballer in the league?
Unbelievable. I was watching him going, I've got a couple of redhead sons, but nothing compared to that. It's not just that it's deep, dark ginger. It's like you've got a bottle of ginger hair dye and you just overdid it. It's incredible.
I don't even know what colour you call it. I mean, I think he comes. Probably Dave Kitson wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Dave Kitson, I remember saying actually that people taking the piss out of gingers was like racism.
Yeah. I don't think it's a race, but yeah, okay.
And also, how many people have died on account of being ginger? This feels like quite an important question.
Has he got a number? Dave Kitson, the secret footballer, has he got a secret ginger account as well? Yeah. The funny thing is, here in the States, people compliment it all the time. There isn't sort of anti-ginger racism in the same way there is in England. So it's, I guess, we could go into the anthropology of it. I suspect it's something to do with hating Scots or something like that.
Do you know who he looks like, actually? He reminds me of Ygritte from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah. Jon Snow. Ygritte. It was apparently from the land behind the wall, but also from somewhere round about Blackburn.
Incredible. I don't want to give you a horrible picture, Dan, but do you reckon the curtains match the carpet there?
Collar and cuffs. That would be. That would be quite something. Like almost like neon's not the word I'm looking for, but it would definitely add a new dimension to the word flashing.
Oh dear, dearie me.
It is a very strange deal, but yeah, I agree with you. The first half was horrendous, and the second half was better. The subs made a difference, and I know we'll delve into this properly when we do the tactics pod for backers probably tomorrow, pre-cup final tactics pod. But it felt like the team that he picked was him saying, "I think this is what I'm going to do at Wembley." In that there was no reason for him not to play Rashford or Højlund. Højlund had his rest, he's back, he scored. Rashford is fit, and Martinez got on the park and started. Yeah. So will he
really start a game without Højlund, who scored a couple of great goals in the past week?
So what actually happened is events, my dear boy. Things haven't gone in the way that it didn't go in the way that he wanted them to go, and now it's like, well, how do you leave out a striker who has scored 2 brilliant goals off the bench and really was in great form until he got injured? So you might go, well, maybe he's better off the bench, and he definitely is a useful sub to have someone to bring on.
But he might be gone by then.
Right, and that's why I would have started Garnacho last year. But the reasons he scored those goals off the bench, it's not because he was a sub, it's because it's taken him a while to get back going. The team played well the midweek, which I hope was going to be perhaps some kind of, felt like maybe a little turning point.
It's never a turning point. There's never a turning point with this team. They're all one-offs.
Keep turning. I think, but then you bring Højlund on and he scores, and then suddenly you're thinking, well, actually, I don't think this is because he's a sub. I think it's because he's a good player who's got a bit of rhythm and confidence back.
His finishing rate, by the way, is outstanding. The amount of goals he scores for the amount of shots he actually takes, which might be him getting in the wrong places, but it's mostly the system. He's up there with Son. He's in the 40% finish. It's great. So
yeah, and he also there was a really great little pass, and he pulled wide as well through a great trick and a pass into the box as well. I think it was Garnacho, I can't remember now, but similarly, I was thinking, well, feel like I'd probably say Amrabat, not with any joy, but then you see that effort today and you think, is there anyone else there?
It just kept giving the ball away. I think he gave the ball away 9 times. It was just incredible. he and not just losing possession, like just undecipherable choices that he made. Indecipherable. Well done, Daniel. Thank you. You got fewer corrections next season, please.
My dad was an English teacher.
What I liked about Højlund's goal was just how confident he looked. I mean, he could have at any point played the pass wide and gone for the cutback move, which would probably it could well have ended the move. He was confident, took it on, scored. Love it. 16 goals this season is really not bad for a first season.
With 3 injuries, 3 proper, like he
started the season injured, got another big one. Yeah.
He's missed a lot of games. I mean, I remember we were talking at Christmas, and you were saying, I think you said 15 league goals would be a good return, and I said, I think we should be getting significantly more than that. But obviously, the injury against Luton killed him when he was properly in form. But we've seen what he can do in rhythm, and it will be nice to see what he can do in a fully functioning team, however that ends up.
Might be a while before we get there. We'll see. It's the choices of central defence, central midfield, and the attacking balance against City a really difficult one. Not to do our pre-City tactics pod already, but it doesn't quite function, does it? I mean, I would not want Casemiro at the back.
He won't be at the back.
He won't. Surely he won't.
Ten Hag said on Friday that some players need time, some players can come back in. And when I read it, I assumed he was talking about I thought even if Varane doesn't play today, which obviously came on,
he's going to start.
He's going to start the final because he's had a serious injury and he knows what to do.
Yeah. He's just going to do box defending as well. So yes, I think that's right. And Casemiro probably moves into midfield, and then it's just, does he play? I mean, Rashford's clearly not going to start. He hasn't started the game in forever. Garnacho started his 37th game in a row, which is quite a lot for a young player.
Yeah, like some kind of rest might have been in order, I suppose. I mean, him and Manu, I would have tried to not play for the full match today, because for what? But
well, because there was still a European place on the line in theory. So I suppose
you can't jeopardize the cup final for the Conference League, surely.
No, surely not. No, I'm surprised Manu and Garnacho, especially Garnacho, really has looked at times he's gone off the ball and needed the rest, but he's still our best attacking output. Yeah,
and almost scored in the first half. And I think, Rashford is a good substitute if he wants to be. I can't for the life of me, and please hit me up when I get this wrong. I can't for the life of me see Ahmad doing jack shit at Wembley.
No, he won't get the ball very much for a start, and he'll get it with probably a couple of players in front of him. So, the team doesn't. I know the team's won a couple of games, but it's hard to say there's real rhythm coming out of today. Maybe they'll feel more confident. I don't know, but it's very hard to say that it'll be true of Marcus Rashford. He's barely scored any goals. He hasn't played very much recently. Where's the rhythm coming from? Are we suddenly going to throw him into the side on presumably the left wing with Garnacho on the right and try and play transitional football against City? Just go back to the long ball stuff, chaos ball. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, for 60 minutes of today, I was like, oh God, if we play that like that against City, against mini City, with a team where City can actually finish those chances and or make more of their possession, because Brighton had a lot today. Our XG does out-threated us. Expected threat, if you want to outpassed us, all of the metrics except the one that counts, which is goals. But City surely will not. They will not waste those chances, right? So,
no, we are going to need to defend better. Martinez obviously had a game. I guess he did okay. We had to face a lot of shots still, but hard to blame that on him, given that it's been happening since even when he wasn't there.
Yeah,
but him and Varane, the two of them together, should make some kind of difference to our ability to stop them getting shots at Onana and also moving the ball forward.
United have conceded 50% more shots than we've taken this season. There's a whole string of horrendous
quality shots.
Yes, shots don't count. I forgot that. Yeah,
and a minus goal difference,
which
suggests that perhaps, in fact, that isn't the case.
And 8th place. And if you put it on expected points, we'd be 5th from bottom.
Which is another way of saying we've got some really good individuals. So.
Really good individuals in a system that doesn't function. And it's very hard to conclude from all of that, since we're at the end of the season now, that isn't a coaching problem.
Yeah, and the sacking offence.
There have been many. Funny, Skinner got a new contract with United Women and celebrate that by throwing the WSL title in the most spectacular way. Losing 6-0 to Chelsea, and City managed to not win that one. But he got a new contract, and Ten Hag, they've said nothing.
He won the cup.
So he won the cup. Oh yeah, there you go. But I did wonder with the women's team whether they can't make any decisions because there isn't actually anyone in charge there. I mean, they put someone who's at the foundation in charge on a temporary basis, but they didn't replace Polly Bancroft permanently. So there isn't a general manager or football director of the women's team. So who would be making that decision? Wilcox? Brailsford? Jean-Claude Blanc? Big into women's football, is he?
Yeah, so I mean, when we are at that point with Ten Hag, obviously we've got the cup final to come.
What do you reckon? He gets sacked on the following Guardiola up the Wembley steps?
I genuinely, I'm not sure what they're going to do, because I think that if they knew that there was a really good candidate available, he'd be toast whatever happens at Wembley. But now I think that a win at Wembley or an acceptable defeat wouldn't force them to sack him, because the pressure would mean that they had to do it. And then it would be thinking about who's going to come in.
Yeah.
And if they're looking for a manager to come in and build something, it won't be Tuchel, who looks like might step by him now anyway.
Didn't he put a statement out the other day saying he's definitely off? There's a loud motorbike for you there.
Yeah, then you're looking at, I mean, is it a choice between Thomas Frank and Kieran McKenna? Is that what it is?
I mean, they seem like Brighton choices to me. There's De Zerbi, who's free. There's Tuchel, who's free. There's Potter, who's free. There's Southgate, who's free, who will be. Presumably.
I don't know if this is a neurodiversity thing, but I hate watching De Zerbi football.
You don't like the baiting from the back?
The tapping about. Get on with it, man. That's not how football should be played.
It doesn't feel like United football. I know that. In many ways, to skin a cat, aren't there? But it would be no one's tried that since Van Gaal, and really that was in midfield, wasn't it? Not at the back.
I think one of the things, this is not an absolute or empirical measure, but when I can't sleep, one of the things I do is I lie there thinking about United, thinking about what should they do, and I've basically stopped doing that this season. Through the course of the season, because it almost feels like it doesn't matter, and there isn't. But then I also think, well, is that because I know there isn't a correct formula with the squad? There's no way of arranging this squad without at least one more midfield player to get them playing football.
Mm.
And
I do wonder how this squad, imagine you had no transfers in or out, which obviously is not going to be true. That squad could not play De Zerbi football. No chance.
I mean, we do have some players that aren't bad at passing the ball sideways 2 yards to each other. I mean, I wouldn't involve Fred in that kind of activity, but he doesn't play for us anymore.
No. Okay, here you go. If you had a choice.
Yeah.
Tuchel, De Zerbi, Ten Hag. You can only pick one of them. Which one is it?
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm not really having De Zerbi's hair gel either. Fergie never wore hair gel.
Tuchel doesn't need hair gel because he's hardly got any left. So.
No, I mean, he might sort of to cover up the holes. Perhaps he might, but yeah, it wouldn't. A haircut would work better for him. Tuchel, De Zerbi, or Ten Hag. I'm sort of leaning Ten Hag, actually. Not because I want him to be manager, but just because, I mean, if I thought that Tuchel would build something and not, then I'd probably go him. But he's not someone I see coming to United and managing for 5 years and making something. He doesn't have that feel of inspiring everyone and getting everyone moving in the same direction. It doesn't feel like he's that guy. I mean, Ten Hag isn't either. I don't know if McKenna is. I don't know if he's got that kind of personality that would allow him to do that kind of thing. And Thomas Frank has a bit more of it, but I don't know if he's good enough. And I don't know what sort of corner I'm backing myself into here. Am I going to say that out of all those people, I think Thomas Frank sounds like the best bet?
Well, you picked a choice I didn't give you, but
no, I know. But I've said already. I know out of the ones you've given me, I said I think I'd probably go Ten Hag, but I'd probably speak to Tuchel and see what kind of vibes I got from him.
Yeah,
to decide whether I thought he was someone I thought could do what I needed.
Has he actually managed anywhere for 5 years? How long was he at Dortmund for?
I don't know. Let's really look this up.
Because he's not been anywhere else for very long, and that's the thing that kind of gives you pause for thought for him. It's all short-termism yet again. And if we're saying it's going to take us 3 years from here, and at times today it felt like it'd be a lot longer than 3 years to get back to challenging, then is he the man?
Tuchel did 4 years at Mainz. Wonder Fini Robbie Amnon. That is a very niche gag, but if anyone gets that, feel free to hit me up. Dortmund 2015 to 2017, Paris 2018 to 2020, Chelsea 2021 to 2022, and Bayern 2023 to 2024, which is to say his spells are getting shorter, not longer.
So you give him 6 months then.
His hair.
He's very dangerously close to a comb over. It's
a total comb over, and no comb over should be, if they were to engage him, that would be a condition. Because
you shave it off.
Yeah, he's got to go.
So you got, here's another question for you. You've got Tuchel's hair as it stands right now. Do you brush it back and just go for, do you shave it all off and go a Ten Hag fully bald? Or do you leave a bit around the sides and look like Attilio Lombardi or something like that?
Sam from Guess Who? No, you get rid of all of it and you accept the fact that not everyone can have locks, unfortunately. But so I think Tuchel is not someone I think will be seriously part of their conversation.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And like one of that, keep coming back to it, one of the things that the consistent things they've said about football is that they're going to pick a club style, and we don't know what that is yet. When Sir Jim talks about football, he's fairly coherent. When he talks about Brexit, he's most definitely not. But maybe we don't get into that. I just say shut up about stuff like that and just talk about football, cycling, or sailing.
So I guess. I wonder if Thomas Frank would also be ruled out on the style point, or would we just say he's doing what he has to do with Brentford?
I mean, it's hard to know because he is quite direct at Brentford, and presumably that is not the style they're looking for a club that's hoping to try and get back to somewhere near winning a league at some point in the.
I think Ornstein said last week that Potter and Southgate weren't seriously in the conversation on the top of this or whatever he said, which it sounds sensible.
Was it Ornstein that said that most other clubs around Europe believe that Ten Hag will be available, he said it was Fabrizio Romano who said that both Bayern and Ajax are working on the assumption that Ten Hag is available. Sorry.
I don't think he'd been United for Ajax, but if he were to get the job, but even if United were to keep him on, if Bayern offered, I bet he'd have to think about that one.
Yeah, Bayern appears to have offered the job to absolutely everybody in football and haven't had any takers yet, which is weird for a club. Bayern haven't fallen that. They finished third in the Bundesliga, and it's shocking for Bayern, but it's not 8 players out, is it, to get to a functional team there and a winning team again? So you'd think they'd be quite attractive. Or maybe everyone knows that it's only a 1-year job and they're going to appoint Klopp in 25.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. But then again, does that leave us with Ten Hag actually? So I'm going to give you a choice of three now: Ten Hag, Thomas Frank, or Kieran McKenna.
Fuck me. All right, Ten Hag, I'm done. I'm up to my eyeballs with him. I think. I don't know. He's so deeply uninspiring. Thomas Frank, I just think he's a shit. Would I like him?
I think he's someone we could get to like.
He's got a bit of personality, and I do think that's important. The football side of things is not very good, and he's not proven. McKenna, totally unproven. Like one season at League One season in the Championship, couple of years coaching at United.
But absolutely ridiculous seasons in both of them.
Both of them,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So go on. Who is it?
Gun to the head. I might actually pick McKenna because it'd be a fun ride until everyone started calling him a PE teacher.
So sort of September.
September, yeah.
Back to school time.
Wow. Man, what have we become? So
this isn't just what we've become. There aren't that many good managers around of the level that you need, and that doesn't feel like a new thing. That will always be the case. There are the two best managers in the world. One's in the Premier League and one's just left and isn't coming to United. So if you think there only are good managers in the world, and the two that are the best are completely unobtainable by you and undesirable as well, then it is going to leave you with what we're left with. And that is, as I said, I would have probably punted for Thiago Motta, but Juve fired
Allegri
the other day. He'd presumably go in there. And then if you're looking for a signing with a manager with a bit of imagination, I mean, I'm not sure if there is no real imagination these days because everyone knows who everyone is, I guess. Apparently Chelsea thinking about McKenna, according to a report in The Guardian today. I don't think they'll bid Pochettino now. I mean, they'd be quite stupid to. I think you've had the whole season to try and repair Big Tired's mess.
Yeah.
And he's finally got there. And they're one of those teams like Palace who probably don't want the season to end. And also, if I'm McKenna and I get offered that Chelsea job, I'm thinking, as long as I don't make a total bollocks of it with Ipswich, if they end up getting relegated, provided it's not with like 8 points or something, and they do something respectable, there'll probably be an equivalent job.
There'll be a job later for him. Yeah. And I mean, he's trying to build a career, not destroy one. And going there in your third season in management at Chelsea with the chaos around there, not having any control about what your squad looks like, doesn't seem like good planning. And Pochettino's restored his reputation. They've had a very good second half of the season.
Which is also, I mean, the problem now with Chelsea is not having no control over the players. It's that some of them are probably getting sold from under you to satisfy PSR. Because... And you won't have a choice over who that is because it will be whoever they can get money for that satisfies what they need to satisfy. So he loves Conor Gallagher, who's someone. I mean, he feels like a bit of an honest scurrier to me, but for whatever reason, he makes that team tick in some way, makes it work. Him replacing Enzo when Enzo got injured has got much more out of Caicedo.
Yeah,
making them look a much better team. So, but if he's the only homegrown player they get offered proper money for, then there's a good chance he's off.
Yeah, almost certainly. Unless he doesn't want to leave, of course. But
even then, but if they tell him to...
I mean, they're almost certainly going to do that. It looks like they're like 150 million short. So they will sell players for sure. Especially since they've just spunked 50-something million on a Brazilian that no one's ever heard of, who's presumably very good. And I've not heard of him because I don't follow Brazilian youth team football.
What do you mean?
So
What's wrong with you?
I know. I have a certain amount of time in my life and I dedicate it to watching the Estonian third division. Maybe I'll switch to Brazilian football next year.
All right, Arsene.
Yeah. Talking of Arsene, they've been trialing. I know we're doing everything but talking about United at the moment, but they've been trialing challenges with the VAR system, like in cricket. DSR for VAR, where each team gets 2 challenges.
I don't like this one.
No, I don't. I mean, it's going to be gamed for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, inevitably, if you're under pressure and the other team's got momentum and you've got calls left, you're challenging the throw-in if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Yeah, fight. Well, you'd want a complicated one to delay it for a few minutes, wouldn't you? So you get some coaching tips in.
Yeah, I don't get much right, but I feel like I did an interview on some Radio 4 program before VAR came in, quite a long time before VAR came in. And it felt like they were shocked when I said, I think this is going to be crap. Because no one fell in love with football because of the decision-making process. And I was like, oh man, this is amazing. The way they keep getting this shit right or wrong, or I hate this because the decisions aren't good enough. And they're taking it from like 92% to 96% or something. That
not
extra
worth the trade-off. Yeah,
is absolutely not worth any kind of trade-off. And I'm happy for the automatic offsides are fine because
coming in next season,
it will always be millimeters. But it's not about that. It's about an instant decision that means you can celebrate a goal that isn't drawing lines on the pitch where you're kind of thinking, is that line in the right place? Like you still can't, like all of that stuff is just, that doesn't feel like football. So I'm happy to accept anything that is immediate. In general, I'd like some clarification of the laws also because the problem that you have is they tried to raise the bar for review, which in theory is a good thing. But then the problem is like when you see what happens and you think, well, actually, this is this, but they've said it's that. And they also sort of know it's that, but they don't want to overturn it because it doesn't hit the bar for overturning.
Randomly higher now. Yep.
And I thought that about the Arsenal winner today. I don't know if you probably didn't see it, but what happens is they win the ball high and Jesus sort of barges through it, but he barges through it kind of with a bit of arm.
Yeah.
And to me, arm's been aside, but you've attacked the ball deliberately, and you weren't necessarily trying to hit it with your arm, but you have hit it with your arm, and you've made a movement towards the ball. To me, that is
but not the goal scorer. And this is just as much a handball rule as it is a VAR rule because Souček's goal for West Ham was ruled out because it rolled in off his arm. So he's the goal scorer, no goal. Jesus, who's created the goal, that's okay.
Because it used to be the case that you could score with your hand if it was accidental, which to me actually made sense. It also made sense when they said it's ridiculous, it's football, you can't score a goal with your hand. I understand the rationale there too, but as you say, that rationale looks a bit weird when the assist or the pre-assist can be with an arm, but the finish can't because, why? The laws are the laws. So I mean, but then the funny thing about this is also, and I feel like actually I've sort of made the wrong argument here. I think the argument still stands, but it's probably a bad example because what actually happened was Michael Oliver gets called over. So they did think that it could be overturned and he said, no, it's fine. So it's just I think what I keep coming back to is I want to have a good understanding of what the decision is going to be before the decision comes when I have seen the footage, when we've all seen the footage. Because otherwise, if we don't know what the laws of the game are, it's all a bit weird and you're just sort of sitting there waiting for something to happen. And also, it leaves it kind of open to corruption as well. If it's not clear what a call should be, and you've got one person who's in charge of deciding what that is. And I don't think that football is corrupt, and I hate it when people say this. I got an email from The Guardian today telling me, I said that one of the differences between Arsenal and City is difference between Rice and Rodri. And by that, I didn't mean that Rice is a better player than Rodri and that's it. What I meant is that Rice is an excellent player and Rodri is a generational player. And that is the difference between Arsenal and City. City got quite a few of those. And Arsenal have maybe 2 or 3, but also possibly none. And he was like, no, it's just City have bought the refs. You're disgusting or something. Me.
No, I'm not into any of that at all. I think
I don't think that's what's happening at all. And it really pisses me off when people challenge the integrity of officials like that, because also that's the kind of thing that gets officials in grassroots football beaten up and abused also. So I hate that shit. But I'm just saying that if one person is in charge of making a decision, you've only got to buy one person, then we'd be stupid with any understanding of humanity not to think that was a problem. And with a referee and 2 officials right there feels a bit better. But also, if we don't know what the rules are, well, it then becomes much easier to say, well, actually, you think it's this, but also it could be that. I'd like some clarification of what a handball is. But then again, it comes to that bar of overturning. Once you've seen what it is, it's quite hard to, because in cricket we do have umpires call, but that's because that's a margin of error thing. It's not it's not a respecting the referee on pitch decision of the umpire or anything. It's just we know that the tech isn't that precise, so it feels like a margin of error thing. Whereas this doesn't. This isn't a margin of error thing; it's an interpretative thing. And
I won't correct you. It's all right.
I didn't correct. It was bad pronunciation. It wasn't grammatical error. I want you to correct me. Honestly, like I know it's terrible behaviour, but I love this shit. I love it. And
I should pull. I do have your book out. I should thumb through it one day when I've got nothing better to do and see if there are any typos in there. So
I would be absolutely. I'm crap at typing. I'm quite ham-fisted, and yeah, I'm really crap at typing. But
it's a good job you worked for the Granny ad for all those years, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I think I don't know. It just feels like we need some clarification of the laws. And also, we need to not. Yeah, so automatic offside, semi-automatic offsides, and the other and handballs, not handballs. Sorry, over live decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess is there any reason you only have not to have the line decisions everywhere, or is it just an expense thing? You wouldn't have them down the touchline and the court and the bylines as well.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's an issue with cameras or whatever, but
other than that, I would accept the on-pitch decision for everything. And
mind you, it wouldn't work at Old Trafford because of the ridiculous camber on the pitch.
I love the camber. It's always if I was a defender who played for United, I promise you, there would literally be a shallow grave of bodies. I was snidely nudging down the slope.
Well, it's not just the slope when you get off the pitch. I mean, it's better these days. The camber's
the camber on the pitch as well.
It used to, when I had my old seat in the south stand, if the players on the far side of the pitch, you couldn't see below their knee because the camber was that big. So it's just, all right. I suppose we ought to talk about the cup final. We are going to do a tactical preview. So let's keep it away from the deep tactical analysis because we need a fucking miracle, lads. Is our tactics, I think, next weekend. How do United win this one? What does it look like? What is your 1 to 11?
My 1 to 11. Okay, my 1 to 11 is Onana.
You're not bringing Bayendier in for the cup final, then? Cup keeper.
Dalot, Martinez, Varane. Jesus Christ, I don't even want to say the words. I guess I'm playing Wan-Bissaka on the right and Dalot on the left, actually. But
yeah,
I'd love to never see Wan-Bissaka ever again until he's playing against United. Then I really don't know what I'm doing in midfield, whether I'm going Amrabat or Casemiro, because neither of them are good. But I'm probably going Casemiro. I was Amrabat, and I just saw how disgusting he was today again. And I'm thinking, oh man, I picked that.
We don't have to keep him, right? Yeah, we are sending him back to Fiorentina because if they saw that, they wouldn't have him.
Yeah, so I guess I'm probably going with Casemiro. Casemiro, Bruno, Mainu. I think I'm about to pick Garnacho more than Rashford because I cannot see Ahmad doing anything.
No, and I don't think you get enough of the ball. I would go.
If I am playing Ahmad, I'm probably playing Bruno at centre forward because I think for that to happen, you need to have players who are going. You're trying to keep the ball,
right?
You're having players who are going to do that. So I'm probably doing that. What about you?
No, I would go with your first 11. I had in my mind that as well. I mean, I don't think it's particularly good, and I don't expect us to win. But playing Scott McTominay in there with 20 touches, if he even gets that against City, and Ahmad, who will never get the ball and can't play on the break, I don't see it. I'd like Højlund to be in there if there's a half chance.
But I just can't see us putting together a 5-6 pass counter that goes from one end to the other. That doesn't feel likely. I wouldn't expect that to be where any goals we managed to score came from.
Where are they coming from? Set pieces?
Well, no. I mean, we have players who can score. It's getting them into the position to score. And I'd be telling Hoyland to play between the width of the posts most of the time, but also not to come deep. And we have to find another way of getting the ball to him. And that, for me, is Garnacho on the right, because at least then he can go down the outside and cross, and he'll have Dalot outside him. No, he won't. He'll have fucking Wan-Bissaka outside him, won't he? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. But Garnacho's ability to go on the outside, I think, will help get Hoyland served properly.
Well, maybe it's actually the other way around, and Garnacho plays right with Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka plays on the left to try and nullify Foden, who's cutting inside.
But Foden plays in the middle these days.
Yes, true.
And then I'm thinking, just actually that thought has made me think, they play with De Bruyne and Foden in the middle. Do we need an extra player there? And
we had an extra player there today, and it still looked like Brighton had more men. So it's,
shy.
I would, it is that. And Casemiro complained about being disrespected, and I don't know if you saw that one.
No.
He did an interview with MUTV in Spanish and complained about being disrespected and the criticism. He said criticism is part of football, but it's gone too far. It's disrespect now. Which is it? Is it?
What? How have you been disrespected? You've played shit for 15 months.
Yeah.
And everyone respects the fact that he's a brilliant, brilliant football player with an unbelievable CV. But he's been crap for a long time now. It's not
he's been crap since he got that first red card, basically.
Yeah, but that mentality, I mean, I don't in a way mind the mentality, because it's that mentality of someone who still thinks they're good. And that kind of desire to show people is probably something that we require. So I don't mind that he thinks that, but I do think he's managed to stop blowing out his arse for a few minutes in order to talk out of it.
Well, I mean, the only reason I do think that's a key one. Obviously, the makeup of the forwards is a key one too. The central midfield one is like Amrabat, in theory, uses the ball more sensibly. I mean, at least he did against Newcastle. And then you see him today, and he's passing to Brighton players all the time. It's just one of the most dreadful performances of a United player this season. It's been quite a lot, and it's hard to reward that with a place in the cup final with a player who's buggering off the day afterwards.
Yeah, it is, and because it's weird, because it felt when I saw the lineup today, I thought, okay, he's decided this is what he wants to do at Wembley. But then you see that, and you think perhaps you need a rethink. But there is obviously no correct solution. There are various solutions, any one of which might somehow yield enough chances for the good players to make a goal or two. But no one's got any clue which it is, because it isn't any of them, but also it could be all of them.
Oh, man. I think probably our best chance is to sneak someone into their canteen and put some spoiled meat in the dinner and give them all food poisoning for a week. It should... Oh, man.
Also, what else is annoying is that goalkeeper, Ortega. I meant to say this last week, actually, and then he proved me right before I said it. But Ederson is an unbelievable passer, probably the best passing goalkeeper anyone's ever seen. But he's not good at keeping goal, and the only reason he gets away with it is because of the passing and the few shots he managed. He doesn't have to face many shots. If he faced as many shots as Onana did, he'd probably have he'd be conceding similar goals. Whereas Ortega is actually good at keeping goal, and he's now playing in the final also. Whereas an Ederson mistake is one of those things you think that feels like something that could happen.
Yeah. Then again, look, Onana's good at passing, as he showed today. Left foot, right foot, he's pretty comfortable. So was Jason Steele. What's his first name? The Brighton keeper who played tiki-taka ball with 3 United players pressing him today. I was like, yeah.
Steele's the lad that used to play for United.
Luke Steele used to play for United. I think this guy's called Jason or something. Jason. I do not remember. Jason, whatever. So it's not very memorable, is it? De Zerbi changes the keeper like every week. They just rotate around, which is pretty weird. All right, we've clearly run out of things to talk about. We will be back with the Tactics Pod for Patreon backers, going in depth into how exactly United are going to beat City next weekend. Spot in the Europa League is up for grabs as an extra prize. because it won't be through the league table now. We will miss out on Europe if we don't win that cup final. Joy. I think we'll have other things to cry about if we lose to City in a cup final yet again. I will be back with Wayne at some point later, just talk about the history of United and City and cup finals and a little bit of that extra content. At some point after the cup final, we'll have to do our end of season award show because the United didn't do one, so we'll have to do it. Giving out our rewards for who's your player of the season? No. Hold that until after the cup final.
Who is my player of the season?
Have a think about who your player of the season is. It's talking of shit and shite, not too many opportunities there. Yeah. On that note, we'll be back soon.
Tom Heaton.
Awesome. He hasn't made a mistake all season. Fair enough. See you. Bye now.
Peace.